Ooh, it's always great to start with laughter, isn't it? Anyway, so today I had a thought of like, well, if I were to focus more on like the new year and less on the previous year, what would that look like? And then I was like, eh. And then so basically I have this idea. This is TP1, Tria Prima 1, right? Yeah, Tria Prima. I was like, I feel like I just should have been Primera or whatever. This is Tria Prima 1. So basically, like whatever card that was, it had to be in the magical dimensions. No, it was in the alchemy. It was sulfur, sulfurous, because it was like sulfur is the soul, and then the body and the mind. Air is the mind, salt is the body. Um, and there was the wheel of life in the SKT that had the three elements in the triangle in the middle of that circle of water. And I guess I got it. Anyway, so today is a curiosity. This is going to be a curiosity series, almost like the permutations of the four archangels in the SKT. I mean, I guess since I'm mentioning the SKT so much, I might as well use it. So like I wanted to use like a down to earth deck. Like I feel like I need a traditional Rider Waite Smith deck because and then like there's a part of me that would have used the Starman Tarot, but then I was like, well, I could use the Dolly Tarot or the Quantum Tarot because I don't understand either of those. And last night I had a dream that involved parallel universes, multiple universes, and it was a dream. So I was like, why not? So if the foundation of our universe is the tria prima of fire, earth, and air, then it's to just like through tarot cards attempt to pull for a universe that has a tria prima of like water as the soul, fire as the mind, and air as the body. You know what I mean? And then earth would be that element that is like left outside. So that would be for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the court cards as, oh, that works. I'm going to look at the court cards as knights are mutable, queens are cardinal, kings are fixed, and with their corresponding elements. So, and I'm going to follow the zodiac wheel instead of, hold up, wait. Ew. Mm. This all of a sudden got a lot less whatever than I thought. Because in my mind, I was like, oh, it could be anywhere, but it literally goes in order. So there's the one with, so cardinal mutable fixed are the three primes. And so I was going to look before and after, like, let's say that we're doing water, fire, and air, right? So I would look before and after cardinal water, fixed fire, immutable air, which would be the Queen of Cups, the King of Wands, and the Knight of Swords. The more I talk about this, the more I'm like, oh, I don't know. I was just like, it was a shower thought. I was curious. But now I'm like, because that's how the zodiac works. It goes cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable. So I would be going in order regardless, which isn't terrible, but I just wanted it to be a little spicier, I guess. So I wasn't going to do it the way that I approached the cards, but now I think I might. Just because, like, I mean, maybe predictable isn't bad. But not predictable. Maybe like cyclical isn't bad. Oh, maybe. Okay. All right. All right. So the fourth one is the element of transcendence. So if we start at fire, I'm pretty sure the zodiac goes fire, earth, air, water, because it's Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Fire, earth, air, water, fire, earth, air, water. So, like with the tria prima being fire, earth, air, like the way that the zodiac is already fits our universe because water would be that fourth element of transcendence. Oh, okay. So now there's this like, because the element of transcendence is the first material of the next or of another or of a parallel or alternate construction of the universe. So then it's almost like these elements of transcendence. It's like if you could imagine it like, oh, where's my phone? Did I not? Oh, yeah, it's right here. I don't know if I have enough colors. So we're going to use red for fire, blue for earth, green for, I think I said that wrong. Red for fire, blue for water, green for earth, yellow for air. And I'm going to try to show you how this just came to my mind. Because then also, I don't necessarily know red. So the first one would be, let's find a nice solid permanent marker. There we go. This would be Aries, fire, earth, air, and then water, which leads to water, fire, earth, air. Oh, is this ascension? Boo. Air, water, fire, and then earth would be the transcendent element. So then it would be earth, air, water, and then we're just going to do one of these. Oh, I shouldn't have done it this way because now it looks like a staircase. I was trying to avoid a staircase, and then it happened. So the solid lines are transcendent elements that lead to an alternate construction of reality that has that as one of its tria prima. It's three prime materials. So you can see it ended up forming like this staircase. So this would be ours. If fire, earth, and air are the three tria prima, and water is the element that of transcendence that it exists within and outside of or whatever. But then this water being the transcendent would lead to a parallel construction where water, fire, earth, and then air is the transcendent to the one where it's air, water, fire. Then earth would be transcendent to the earth, air, water, and then it would like fire would be transcendent, but we already have the fire of fire, air, and earth. And I'm pretty sure this accounts for all of the combinations of like a three, right? Blue, yellow, green, right here. Blue, yellow, red, right here. Blue, red, yellow. No, yeah, yeah. Blue, red, yellow is right here. Blue, red, green is this one. So I think that's all of them. So now I'm like, oof. See, I was trying to like connect this red to this red, and I was like, oh, I'll go under. But as soon as I started, I was like, oh, this is a staircase. I don't like it. But when I was going up and up and up, I was like, is this ascension? But maybe once we complete the staircase, that's almost giving me. Oh, that reading was a while ago. Um, it was the one that had the Eight of Cups in it. It was the Eight of Cups, but they were on the second step. And it's like at the top was this Ace of Pentacles of a New World. It was the capital I versus the EYE, I'm pretty sure. And I feel like there's like, I don't know, contrary to, okay, I was going to say contrary to what people might think, but it's like I don't like being confrontational or whatever, but also sometimes I don't mind it. Like, if I feel like it matters, I'm not going to avoid it, if that makes sense, even though I would not necessarily want it. But I guess that's just to say that, like, I'm not on here speaking all whatever the way I speak to come for people or their beliefs or whatever. Um, I just think that it's like the same criticism or the same discerning eye that I looked at religion with, specifically, I guess, Christianity, I look at spirituality with. And I feel like spirituality fails people just as much as religion does. But then I think if you go to the teachings, ultimately, it's people who fail religion and it's people who fail spirituality because of like confirmation biases. We want to basically do what we want to do and not, feel some type of way about it. Like if we want to be able to go out and get drunk every single day and not go to hell, then we're going to pick a belief system that lets us do that. Right. And then that led to a question of like, are we able to discern resonance even in the presence of challenge? Right? Like if something is challenging, or if we have resistance to like a truth that is true, like assuming that the truth is true for us, but it conflicts with whatever. If we are meant to grow in life, if we are not meant to be stuck and stagnant for literally our entire lives, it almost stands to reason that at some point, somewhere, there will be resistance. At some point, our minds will expand or our behaviors will change in a way that is more reflective of the person that we really are or the person that we're becoming, and less reflective of the person that, whose actions and behaviors we're modeling at the time. And so then it was a question of like, would we be able to still discern challenge as resonance? Or would it be like, oh, this is difficult, this is challenging, this doesn't resonate, like this isn't for me? And it's just a question. So I guess that was all to say again that like I'm not necessarily on here like coming for people and their beliefs and whatever. So if you hear me say like what I was like talking about spiritual warfare, excuse me, and I was like, what is it? Because I heard about spiritual warfare in the church and I hear about spiritual warfare and spiritual YouTube, but it's like sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I hear spiritual warfare and it almost seems more like a consequence to an action. Like, we might do something and it may have an undesirable consequence. And so now we have to deal with it. And it's like, oh, spiritual attack, spiritual warfare. And of course, I could be completely wrong because I'm an outside person, but sometimes that's kind of what it seems. And then it's like, is it spiritual warfare if it's just a consequence to our own action? I mean, I guess if it is spiritual warfare, then it would be one who is at war with their own spirit, because it would be one's own spirit and one's own soul that may bring up a feeling of like guilt. Like, I really shouldn't have done that. Right. And that's not like guilt, of course, can be a miracle blocker and it can be negative, but it's not always bad. Like, nothing, not many things, not many things are always one thing. like guilt can be good if it gets us to act in ways that don't harm ourselves or others. Maybe the guilt is like the part of you that actually loves you when you make choices and decisions or you say that you don't, right? But anyway, um, and then so I was just like, I was talking to my mom and I was asking her. And then when she brought that up, again, almost like, and it's not, I feel like there's a part, it's like almost like religion and almost like spirituality, but in a higher or a different understanding, it's people and not the teaching, because the teaching is the teaching. It's like blaming math for whatever, but math is just 2 + 2 = 4. It's just telling you what math is. It's how you use math, how you interpret the equations and use the math to do whatever, right? Like if you're using math to try to make numbers fit that don't fit so you can skim the books, it's not math that's evil or money laundering, it's the person, right? Math is just the tool, just like religion and spirituality is just the tool through which we process the world and the universe in a higher understanding. But it's how we use it. And I just feel like there's a lot of features, it seems, that like more so placate us in ways that keep the systems of power or the world, the way that the world is running as is, instead of really sort of changing it. Like it'll get us to ask for change. But I've talked about that before, when it's like there's devil energy and then there's the divine energy, and they'll both agree that things are going to get really rough, right? Devil energy wants things to get really rough so that people feel hopeless and helpless and powerless. Divine energy wants things to get really rough so that we face and address things and that we learn and we grow and we overcome them and we choose differently. The path may be similar, but of course, there are many outcomes. And the outcome that we get is the one that we believe and act in alignment to. So, anyway, I more so wanted to just come on here and be like, I'm not necessarily coming for anybody's belief or whatever. It's just me questioning. I don't know if the tools that we're given or how the tools that we're given actually help us succeed, or if they don't, or if the toolbox has been tampered with so that we fall into either a false sense of success or so that we like power divert hardcore to basically nothing happens. Everything stays the same. So yeah. Happy New Year. I don't even think I've said Happy New Year. Oh my gosh, we're in 2024. Look at that. Let me stop before my camera falls. Also, I didn't point out her. She was 50% off. She was part of the Christmas. And I don't know why I like left her in the bag down there. Maybe if I had something to set her on. Because like that's a door. Or maybe I could put something like right here. Oh, my mom was like, you could put the tree in the back. I might do it. I might not. Because I got blackout curtains now. My room is so dark. I never know when it's daytime. It's almost like wearing transitions. Like I love transitions until it's been like a month or 2 months and I don't know what daylight looks like anymore because every time I step outside, they transition to sunglasses. And it's like I miss the light of the sun. So like with these blackout curtains, it's basically the same. I miss the light of the sun. But when I'm working those overnights, I want to sleep in the morning. So is that how we're gonna do this? And then I was like, oh, this may not necessarily be super long, so I could run through all of them in one video. I'm like, yeah, no. So that's why I made this TP one. Also, I'm probably gonna be running subscriber only mode at least for a hot minute because there are people who may not necessarily know how things work over here. Not that that necessarily is a super deterrent, but still. Hey, David, how you doing? And okay, yeah, this year I don't know. I did realize like last year was a good year. Well, there was one thing, I think the only thing that I really, really wanted to accomplish last year, I did. I wanted to move out of my parents' house, and I was able to. I think this year we're going to be raising the bar. And I feel like there's been a whole bunch of propaganda that I've been watching on Netflix and even like this one, it's a Japanese drama where it's like, I want more. I want more. And now I'm like, I want more. And I guess I'm gonna have to do what it takes to get it. That's the attitude over here. But this video may end abruptly. I'm kind of waiting on my number one fan to come so we can finalize our trip details. And then once those are finalized, there are some things that I need to do. So, anyway, I guess I could just do one and see. Well, maybe I should just start with the first one, right? I mean, it would be easy. Oof, we'll see. Because I'm like, this is my mind. This whole 20 minutes has basically been my mind. Because I'm like, if I do start with Aries, Taurus, Gemini, with Cancer being water, being the element of transcendence, um, then it would basically be how our universe is constructed, which could potentially give me a basis on like how to read others. But it's like if they're different enough, then although like it would for the next one, it would be, I think, for any permutation actually, because it's a permutation of 3 out of 4. So at most, they're only going to be like 33% different. Right? Because we go from red, green, yellow to blue, red, green, 2 out of the same, to yellow, blue, red and yellow the same, to green, yellow, blue, green, and yellow. So at most, they're only going to be 33% different. But with that element of transpondence, even though it's only one element, the like if you have like purple paint and you paint purple on a white canvas, it's going to look different than purple on a black canvas. It's going to look different than purple on like a green canvas, right? Well, assuming that like between the white and the black canvas, yeah, because that contrast is more extreme. But it's almost like if the colors blended into the canvas, like bled into the canvas a little bit, it can like, or even just like comparatively, our eyes can see it as a completely different color because the background is different. It's like an optical illusion. Hey, Kirsty, how you doing today? Happy New Year! Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to David. Happy new calendar year. I'm still like, I know for me personally, maybe it's because I like to be difficult. I don't like to be difficult because I'm not difficult when everything's good. You know what I mean? I am very easy to please if everything is pleasurable. I'm like, oh wow, this is nice. Yeah, okay, cool. We're chill. Um, but I guess I don't know. For me, it's like, where does the year begin? Does the year begin when things sprout, or does the year begin? It's like, does it begin when we can see the growth, or does it begin when it actually happens? Because in order to see everything above ground, it had to happen below ground first. And so it's already started, it's already begun before we can see that it started in a certain type of way. You know what I mean? That's why I'm comfortable personally with the Capricorn New Year. Because I'm like, yeah, in order to see everything in spring, then it had to grow below ground first. So it already started, right? And then, there are some parallels that we can draw. That get messy. I thought about that the other day, and I'm like, I am not even gonna share that thought. because that is a debate to which there are many answers. So anyway, that's why I was like, yeah, I can see the new year starting in multiple places, but there's something for me that resonates to that everything that happens below ground before we see it up top. And so that's why I'm comfortable with the Capricorn New Year, a mid Capricorn New Year, right? Just because it's down there doesn't mean it's growing, but at some point it does. And then after some time, we see it anyway. So yeah, I could do this because Blooming Rose. Oh snap! Hi, Happy New Year. How are you? Excuse me. I might sleep. I might just sleep. I don't have to go to work until the night after tomorrow. So I'm like, well, I got a new one. It just happened. Like, I feel like just like words find their way into my vocabulary sometimes ironically. Like, there was this laugh that I was like, I was play laughing at work with one of my coworkers. And then I just started to laugh like that. And I told my friend the last time I saw him, he was like, "Ew, don't laugh like that. Like, stop. You laugh like one of my uncles now." And I don't like it. But I couldn't help it. But also, I don't know. I have mood laughs too. I'm weird. It's mine. And they kind of like sometimes they're tells because I have this one laugh. Like if I think a thought that's like particularly sassy, or if I think something that it's that one. It's like when I think something that maybe I shouldn't be thinking, and like that's the laugh. Or if I say something and it's like whatever, then like that's the laugh. And my friend is like, "Why are you laughing like that? What did you like? What did you do? What's going on?" And I'm like, "Nothing, nothing. It's a giveaway. How dare my own voice betray me?" But yeah, I don't know what we're doing today. Because I feel like there's a part that's like, yeah, it could build a basis for how to read the others, but they can be different enough that it's not even applicable. I mean, does it even matter? Maybe. It's given me Idrisil energy. Yeah, it is. Um, and how sometimes, oh, which is giving me shield hero energy. Sometimes it's like if things are true for other people, that may not necessarily be true for us. And if we can look at it as it's true for you, but it may not necessarily be true for me, and it's kind of true for this other person, when we can see all of it, maybe it helps illuminate an underlying truth, an underlying more global or more universal truth that is just like it's dialed up or down or mixed on the soundboard for like others. But there's like something that it can illuminate, right? Or it might be true, who knows? Because we almost that energy. But then I'm still like, what deck do I want to use? I want to use like the most woo woo deck that I have for the element of transcendence, which could be the one that I understand the least also. So my brain goes Dolly Tarot because those cards, I'm like, what is this? But also at the same time, maybe it depends because I could see the Dolly for like fire or water, like passion, creation, whatever. But maybe even air. Oof. Oh no, no, Eve, no. That deck popped into my mind. It was either like Dolly Tarot or Quantum Tarot. Because I'm like, the Quantum Tarot I have a little bit of a grasp on. Dolly Tarot, I'm just like, what is this? It's like beyond the Starman Tarot for me. How you doing, Eve? Happy New Year. I'm just like, oof. No, no. I just saw the box for it. Actually, I think it might be in that box. And then would I use the book? If I don't use the book, I'm just gonna be staring at cards for an hour. Like, okay, I'll get it. I'll grab it. It's fine. I'll cry about it later. And by later, I mean as soon as I pull this card. I forget that like I'm running two screens. I might have to move my modem in here because this Wi-Fi, whatever, for my desktop is not working, and the PlayStation can run off of the modem, even though the speeds are much faster with the LAN. So, Dolly Tarot, where that gold box at? That shimmering gold box of pure. I don't even have words for it. I think it's back here. Yep, it's right there. Right next to the occult tarot. Oof. Oof. And then I could use like the SKT. If I had more of an understanding of occult and mystical symbolism, like the triangle and the square or whatever, I would use that, or it would be more. I guess I could use a Vitruvian edition because it has less. It's a little bit more grounded into something that I can understand. And apparently, the first SKT edition was chock full of just like, I was like, wait. Okay, I see Estrella at the bottom. That's not bad. I can understand Estrella, right? Ooh, you're doing some sewing. El Juicio? El Juicio? Judgment. I've been like wanting to crochet. I don't know. I've been like a little burnt out on screens these past few days. So I was like, oh, I could read that book. Oh, I can crochet. I could do all of these other things. And then maybe I'll like take a nap. I've been trying to finish this season on Diablo 4. I'm so close. I want all the cosmetics. All right. Oh. El Mago. The Magician, the Page of Cups, the Page of Wands, and Justice. All cards that I can understand. I mean, all cards with like a central figure. So this is interesting, though. The Magician, 2 pages, and Justice. I wish I could give these names. This is the intersection. So pages, I'm gonna read as the element in their transcendence because that's what the pages are. I guess they're um, they have a non-modality. They're non-modal elements. So that would be the world of fire, which is, oh, that's easy because it's the elements that aren't this one. So it would be this one and this one. The Page of Cups is the world that we're in. Is this like the entirety of the process? Because here again is transcendent water. But then this one is transcendent fire because it goes from this water. Oops. I thought it said that it wouldn't do that. I thought it said that it would not mark. Well, I guess that means I could highlight. Um, Oh yes, let's airbrush, but make it like very soft. That's gonna be our highlight. Oh, I can't use yellow because yellow is on here. What color can I use to highlight? Let's use like this blush, I guess. Oh, so it would be these two. Page of Wands, or Page of Cups, Page of Wands would be those two. And again, they're because they're connected by the stair step, it could be the entire process. Because that's how I illustrated it. So, but then there's the Magician and Justice. Maybe because the Magician is here, this is going to be one of those. I mean, you probably could have guessed from the top. Because the Magician is here, if we look at the Tria Prima, if we look at the Tria Prima as the elements that we have access to within that universe, we would only have access to 3 out of 4. And it's given me what is that? It's a word when you have an equation, but there are two things that are like they're interconnected. So like let's say it's like PV equals nRT. Pivner is coming to my mind. And it's like pressure times volume equals the like what gas constant R, the temperature T, and then the is it like the mole something molar with the N. Like if I had a thing in front of me, I would know. But it's like most of the time we either control the pressure, or most of the time we're either interested in the pressure or the temperature. But because of the equation, the pressure is a function of temperature, and temperature is a function of pressure. So you can't independently control those elements in the ideal gas equation, the ideal gas law, because they're correlated, right? Like pressure affects temperature, temperature affects pressure, so you can't independently control them. So it's almost like that here. If we exist within this universe, then water would be a function of fire, air, and earth. So if you have your fire set, your air set, and your earth set, you can't independently control water because that's not how the Tria Prima works in this construction of the universe. But the Magician has all 4 elements on the table. So it's almost like the Magician has to have access to a different construction of the universe in order for all 4 elements to be on the table. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? It's like, so if we go here, and it can be, if they're the same, then it doesn't matter. If they're different, then it's going to affect the end result. But like when we go here, right? Because water is transcendent to this construction of the universe, and let's say this is where the Magician is, it has to go up here or here or here, literally any of the other ones. But because these two are highlighted between the Page of Wands and Page of Cups, it would have to go up here to get access to water. And so maybe it does like fire and earth of this one, and then the air and water of that one all together to create whatever it tries to create. And then justice becomes this like balancing sort of force. This makes magic like much more difficult. It's like it adds a whole another layer of like, because now instead of like balancing forces within one sort of universe, you're balancing forces across multiple. Why do I do this? Does this even matter? It's to satisfy a curiosity. This is one of those where if we find something of resonance, I guess, then we take it. Like I said, this is to satisfy a curiosity. Um, I love how I'm like, oh, like I can do a little woo, but not too much woo. And then I'm like, let's try to. And I love that. I'm using this deck specifically for the transcendent the transcendent elements, and the only ones that came out are two of them. There's no minors besides core cards, and it's our two elements of transcendence: transcendent water and transcendent fire, with two major arcana energies: the magician and justice. This is such. It gives alchemy because alchemy feels like more scientific than just like magic. You know what I mean? Maybe not, but it's like it's much more precise. And it's like it's interesting how the Ace of Swords, she's almost like hiding the sword and emphasizing the scales. If she's hiding the sword, then this magician would operate or be bound by a universe where air is the transcendent element. So it would be in the second one. It would be there. If justice, I mean, that's the vibe at least. If justice is hiding the sword, then it would be the universe where this is the tria prima: water, fire, and earth, because then air would be the transcendent element. So in these four cards, we've accounted for 3 out of 4 of these. So if this is the missing universe or the universe in question, my brain kind of like works like that, or my spiritual sensors or whatever kind of work like that sometimes. And I learned that in a meditation class because sometimes it's like, sometimes there's a sensation that leads to a target, but sometimes it's like there's sensation everywhere except one area. And that happened to me once, and I got confirmation. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's when that was when I was like a energy whatever in a past life for like a semester or for a few weeks. I was like an energy whatever, and then I guess I got over it. I don't know. Maybe it was too woo. I mean, I was in my last semester. I was trying to focus on school, and so I was like, all this other stuff can like fall to the wayside, and then I never picked it back up after I got my degree. So, um, but yeah, sometimes it's like what is present leads to the area of interest. For me, sometimes it's what's missing, because if everything else is present, then it's like I'm getting like all of my markers are hitting except for one. And I wonder if that could be like an underactive, overactive type of thing too, maybe. I don't know. It's fine. This would be the universe of interest. Why this one? Because this is what justice is hiding. I mean, maybe that's the short end of it. But they all have, so that would be the water and fire of the Page of Cups, Page of Wands, but the missing air of justice. And it's the only universe that we haven't like seen yet. So and then like if we do break this down, right? If we 3DFI this, it could be like, let's say that we go through our, as we live life, we learn. And there are more and more lessons that we learn. And then sometimes we find out that there are some things that we used to believe to be true that weren't necessarily true. This would almost be, it could be an example of like, there's something that we're working on, there's something that we're working towards, but it requires a truth that we haven't yet encountered. So this would be like title card energy for me, because this would be like live life and find out. When you find out, then everything is going to come together. But if you were to do whatever. Now, yes, there's a chance that you can do the right thing. But for me, tarot card specifically is like, based on your current understanding, you're going to interpret this in a way that is completely off the mark or that is not completely on the mark. And it's going to cause you to like go around the thing or completely miss it when it's right there. But if you live a little bit of life, if you wait, there's something that's going to happen that will cause you to interpret the message in the way that it was intended to be received. It's like there's a word that you don't understand yet, and this word is a negative, and so it actually inverts the meaning of that sentence. But it's like if you use your context clues around the words that you don't know, you would think that it's telling you to do this. But when you learn the word, you'll say it's like, do not. It's like you say, do blah, 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 blah. And you're like, not. What does that mean? I don't know. So I'm going to do whatever. And then you learn the word not. And it's like, oh, I'm not supposed to do it. Oof, I don't like this. The reason why I don't like this is because I feel like this is some kind of back alley high priestess type. Oh, we don't know. We're just gonna go pick a timeline where we do know. We're gonna jump forward in our timeline when we understand the word no and we know the meaning of the word not, and we're gonna pull on that future knowledge to make the correct decision here. My head is already hurting. I'm like, oh gosh. But anyway, let's just put these cards back. Oh, well, maybe this is the universe we'll start with. Why not? So we're going to start with, and it's always what? Soul, mind, body. Right? Hold up. I'm going to consult. What was it? The alchemy. Oh, I got to get up again. 1 second. Because I'm like I said, I'm going to use the tools at my disposal to kind of line these up. So this is just these as the elements. There are actually more permutations because in these, because even between like fire, earth, and air, it could be fire, earth, air, earth, fire, air, fire, air, earth, fire. Like the soul, the body, and the mind, like within that realm, has its permutations. And there's already a level that's giving me a headache, so we ain't go there necessarily. So that's why I'm going to refer to the book. Like I said, I'm a weirdo, and this is just curiosity, just to see what cards would say. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even close that all the way. It's fine. I said we're taking the high priestess's back alleys, so we're just gonna leave that cracked like that. Was it 29? I don't remember. $29 sulfur. Yay, I remembered. So the soul is fire, the body is salt, and the mind is mercury. Oh, so it's soul, body, mind. Okay. It's interesting that the mind comes after the soul. I'm just gonna jot that down real quick. So it's soul. Oh, that's not the color I wanted. Soul, body, mind. There we go. If I was Everlong Mystic, you would have a video with every single permutation. But I'm Patrick, so you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. I'm kidding. You can throw all the fits you want. Okay, So the first is the soul, the second is the body, the third is the mind. Based off of the soul, body, mind of the tria prima of fire being the soul, salt being the body, and air being the mind, it makes sense. Right. So we're looking at the universe in question, or the universe of intrigue. The construction of intrigue is the one where air is the soul, water is the body, and the mind is fire. I feel like this could just be like different types of people, though. Like, I mean, they do say Earth is this whatever, it's this melting pot of different, woo. Because it could just be like different people, high key. Like, have you met someone with an air soul? Like, how logic and reason is just so like their being. It could be like someone who's obsessed with like justice. You know what I mean? And then water being their body. I would love that because with water being the body of the person with an air soul, it wouldn't be as it's like it wouldn't be as devoid of emotion and of like pathos as I feel like a super like when we think of people who are like super airy or super logical, it's almost like mind over heart. But this wouldn't be mind over heart energy. And then the mind is a fire, which is like passion. Okay, we're not doing this. Maybe even this one. Maybe even these two. I'm like, there's a lot of wands. They ain't got no numbers on it or nothing. Six of wands and the 10 of wands, I'm assuming. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah. Oof. My head is already hurting. To be fair, I woke up with a headache today because I don't think I've been drinking enough water. I've been a little dehydrated, but my headache went away and now it's back. And then we have the Emperor and Death at the cut. El Emperador and La Muerte. Whew. All right. So, what deck am I going to use? So, where are we? We are in the season of autumn, right? Cardinal air, fixed water, and mutable fire. With earth being the transcendent element. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm kind of like over it now. Fine, I'll do one. I could use the SKT Revelations. I got my WTF is this deck. So in the WTF is this deck, we're going to look before and after the Page of Pentacles because it would be Transcendent Earth. And I chose court cards because then I could leave the majors in there. You know what I mean? I don't know. I wanted to leave the majors available. And court cards for me are like, how do I read these? Sometimes it's how do I read this? Sometimes it's like I get it. I feel like more often than not I get it, but just like thinking about a court card, it's like, what do I do with this? I need context for court cards. And I feel like I don't need as much with oh, it is right here. It's literally right here. Sure, let's go for it. I'm going to use the SKT Revelations deck. Oh, and look, there's the High Priestess looking at me when I open the box. She must have been our final card last time I used this. With the Shining Waters at the bottom of the deck. Ooh, maybe I should do that too. Because, like, the High Priestess is associated with water, right? So, like, maybe Justice would be the major for. Like Justice would be High Priestess, or Justice would have the seat of the High Priestess in the world where air is the transcendent element. Kind of. Nine of Cups, the wish granted. Whose wish is being granted by me doing this? Not money. Maybe there was a part of me that was like, I feel like I've been comfortably in the woo lately. I want to go more woo woo. We got Nine of Cups, Four of Cups, and the Knight of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck is Apocalypse, Judgment. El Juicio. It was what? Judgment and it was Judgment and something else. Was it the Magician? No, El Mago. It was Judgment and the Star, La Estrella, and El Juicio. Okay. No flippers. No flippers, please, because I already know what I'm looking for. Just arrange yourself accordingly. So I am operating under the assumption that anything that flips over or falls out is removing itself from the equation. Hopefully, it's not one of our significators because that happened. But that's because, again, because I'm pulling before and after, that is the assumption that I'm running over. Archangel of Mysteries revealing itself. Ooh, we got two cards out. The Three of Cups and the Eight of Cups have decided to remove themselves. I'm going to three shuffles. Wow. See, now I feel like I've punked myself. Now I feel like this is some kind of cosmic prank or more localized prank. I'm not gonna say cosmic because I'm a dude in a speck within a speck of the cosmos. So I'm like, whatever card flips out is hopefully it's not one of our significators, and then literally the Queen of Swords falls out, the Scarlet Shield falls out. She's like, well, I'm out of it. If the Three of Cups and the Eight of Cups are out of the picture, then I'm out of the picture. And she's literally like, this is my cardinal air. Air is the soul universe. I can't even begin it. Is that a sign to start at the beginning and then work my way up? Maybe. Is that just. Now, if I wanted to be real clever, because I'm looking before and after, I have two cards that discarded themselves. That's what we're going to do. We're already in the back alley of the High Priestess anyway. So why not? Why not go for my head exploding live on camera? It's already pounding. So I'm just going to start. I have my cardinal air that discarded itself along with the kindred and the defector. Wow. This is my defector, the Eight of Cups. I was looking for a defector the other day. I don't know. I don't remember why. This is giving me the energy of like the defector is those those who left are those who fled, and the kindred is the brethren of those who are no longer here. So I don't know if this is like a left behind type energy. It's almost giving me the Angel of the Mists. It starts with a C. I'm pretty sure. The one who like couldn't pick a side, so it got stuck in the veil. This could also be an energy of like descendants. Ooh, okay. I can kind of see. And I guess like the Eight of Cups is here, the defector. So that is a bit of irony that I feel will validate my choice to include these, even though I literally just said I wouldn't. Because that's what the defector does. They leave. And then I was like, any card that comes out won't be considered. The defector said, I'm out. The kindred said, oh, we're out too. Because the defector is out, we're out. We're the same. We're together. We're together. So, if they leave, then we have to leave because they left. Like, we're not going to have a home alone situation over here. No one gets left behind type energy. I'm going to pull these from the bottom of the deck just because I won't have to. Yeah, we're in the back alley of the High Priestess anyway. The Lovers, the Chariot, and the Herald of the Flame. No, this is Transcendent Earth. Okay. This one, because the Page of Wands Transcendent Flame, this one, the third one, is pulling on the fourth one. So it's speaking of the next. Oh. This would be one that's like, if these are people, not people, but like this would be like a construction of the universe that's already closed, or it's given closed energy, because like the Lovers can be choices and decisions that have long term impacts on our life. More so, pre 72-hour marriage. I'm kidding. Well, it's been a while since that 72-hour marriage has been a thing. Um, but it's like choices and decisions. It's a dedication and alignment to moving forward, but not only moving forward. It's like, it's not, because it's the Chariot, it's not moving forward ignorant to or disregarding other options or opinions, because the Chariot with its willpower aligns seemingly opposing forces, and with their alignment it moves the Chariot forward. Like everyone's happy, everyone's pleased, not like, I don't care what you think, I don't care what you want, I get what I want, and that's all that matters to me. And so it's so like dedicated and committed and aligning them moving forward. There's something that moves forward because the Lovers are on the same page. And then it takes us to the Herald of the Flame, which is again this next reality. It's the next step up, where fire is the transcendent element. But this is the mind. So the mind has already, like, for this construction of the universe, it's the mind. And air is the mind from our perspective. Fire is in the position of the mind, which is corresponding to like the next step, but with how our universe is set up, air is the mind, which is the soul of this universe. If that makes sense. Like here are your colors. Here's my cheat sheet. So again, we're looking at this. Our cardinal air came out. The Queen of Swords has disregarded herself. Again, that's why like this is a universe that's already closed. It's a universe that's already vacated. It's one that's already empty. It's like they've already moved on, or they've already completed like whatever this particular way that things are wired is to give or to like help people come to their higher potentials closer and closer to the creator. Like it's done. The defector is like, we're already out. We've already moved on. The kindred is like, I'm with them. The first three cards, it's like, yeah, the Lovers, the Chariot, the Herald of the Flame, they're already in the next world. So do I move on to the next one? Like I don't have the Queen of, okay, so we're gonna read this all as one storyline. So this is for those with air souls who have already moved on. Now the soul in this world is the body. That makes sense. Does that make sense, or am I like trying to force something to fit? It makes sense to me. Those with an air soul have already moved on to the next world, but in the next world, air is the body. So their soul from this world or from their previous world is their body in the current world or the next world. And then their mind. See, now I'm like, this is why like stuff like Doctor Who, it gets me sometimes because my brain gets stuck in the loop. My brain doesn't, it's like because in one person's incarnation they move beyond the loop. You go back in time, you do whatever, but then you move on with your life. But in my mind it's like they go back in time and then they move on with their life to the point where they go back in time and then they move on until they go back in time until they move on until they, like, I get stuck here. But like after they go back in time and then catch back up, like they move on. But my brain is like, ugh. I can get it sometimes. Like if I'm actually watching something, like I get it. But if I just think about it, I get like stuck. Anyway, because the mind didn't come out here. The only thing that came out was the soul, and it came out when I asked for it not to. But again, since I'm reading the same, all of my other cards are still in the deck. So we're just going to keep going. I mean, obviously, this could be like star seeding, right? Like, oh, I'm in Orion star seed, and the Orion constellation has already achieved transcendence or ascension, and that's why they're helping Earth, right? Cool. So, do I pull on the transcendent element? I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I've already had like half a gallon of water because, like I said, my head is hurting. Maybe this bathroom trip will give me some insight. Okay. I did grab some biscuits or some wafers, as I called them before. Cool. Ooh, ooh. Hmm. Now you can watch me chew, I guess. Hmm. Mm. So this could be like a metaphor for the new year, also. Within the macro and the micro is the metaphor. I said that right, right? Within the macro and the micro is the metaphor. So this could be like you having learned everything up to this point in your life that you were supposed to learn as you move into the next chapter of your life. right? But this is the metaphor through which it is being read today. So now we've already hop, skipped, and jumped up to no, no. I didn't think that through. I didn't. Oh, wait. There we go. There we go. Okay. So soul, body, mind. And then I'll go back to my airbrush. Oh, I can make it even more opaque. Yes, love it. And then I go back to my color. So the reason why I said I didn't fully think it through was because I tried to like the most recent thing that I wrote. So that was the first. And now we're up here. Okay, so I put the dot on the first one, and then I put the circle with where we are now. I wish I had like a graphic that I could put up on the side of the screen. I do have my OBS. I'm on my laptop. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Let's keep going. So from the bottom of the deck, now we are looking for, I need my cheat sheet, I need my graphic. We are looking for Cardinal Earth, which is the queen of, oh my gosh, which is the queen of the Archangel of Mists. No. The shield, Ebony Shield. Okay. We're looking for the Ebony Shield, Fixed Air, which is the Archangel Commander, and then Mutable Water, which is Shining Waters. So let's keep going. Oh, and look at what's the very next card. The very card after the Herald of the Flame is Cardinal Earth. The Ebony Shield. I was like, I know I saw this card. It's because it's literally the next card. Okay, so this is my we're right on track. After this, because there's no card before, we have the Wheel of Life. And again, that's where I first saw Latria Prima before I read it as from the sulfur in the wild unknown alchemy. If it will focus. Anyway, there is fire, air, and earth, and that triangle in the middle. Sulfur, mercury, and salt. Which is interesting because for some reason, this Wheel of Life is making me think of the shield. Maybe it's the colors, but it's like this Wheel of Life is the shield of the Ebony Shield, which makes sense because life and her being the Queen of Pentacles, or the shield associated with Earth, and we live our lives on Earth, or like Earth being the element of life, right? Like the plants and the animals, I guess. We come from the earth and we return to the earth. It's also interesting because of the sword in Justice. Justice was presenting the scales, but hiding the sword. But this Wheel of Life is the opposite because the sword is upright at the top of the card and the scales are in reverse at the bottom. So this is our soul. The soul is the Wheel of Life. But again, it makes sense in this context because this soul transcended. This is a transcendent soul within this reality because why? Because earth was the element of transcendence in the last one. See, this is like we're already past that point of me being like, what WTF is this? There's something about because this is the soul. And with the wheel of life, it's like a soul that's already lived through life. It's almost like the keeper in this deck, how the keeper is the fool that's gone through from the magician to the world and has learned whatever they needed to at every single step of the way. So now, when that fool is in the world, they're in the world with a complete knowing and understanding, a more complete knowing and understanding of it, rather than just being like, I'm down here doing my best. You know what I mean? The soul is one that's already sitting at the space of the wheel of life, the wheel of life that is now the shield to this person. This is a soul that now gets to become more. Because it's like it's complete, it successfully completed one incarnation. It's almost given me the caste system. It's like it's a soul that's fulfilled its dharma in one life, and so the next life it moves up. Which again, like makes sense with how things are running so far. So the next card, and then the Ace of Swords, the Sacred Word, almost as if to emphasize that that sword is up right now, where justice hit it before. Next, we move to Fixed Air, which is the Archangel Commander. Well, I guess I'm looking for both the Archangel Commander and the Shining Waters because I don't want to have to go back through, right? And here's the Archangel Commander. It gave it to us in order anyway. Thank you. Before the Archangel Commander is the joined one. Abyssus, Abyssum, and Wokat. There's our Archangel Commander. That is the fixed air of the body. And then the angel is right after that. After the angel is the ivory shield, which is the world that came before, or the construction of the universe before, where water was cardinal and air was the transcendent element. And because the angel, both of these involve cups and water. Two cups specifically. In the joined one, both cups are being poured to individually, but in the angel, they're pouring from one into the other. And this is the body. I guess I picked the right deck to do this because it's like angels, and I'm like, what is that? And so on this angel, not only are there two heads, there are also two pairs of hands. And there's our Solway at Coagula. That was on Salutio, but anyway, because I saw the phrase lately. You see, there's that second pair of hands here. So there's something. Hold up, wait, there's only one pair of hands. These cups are floating in midair. Maybe I never noticed that. There's only one pair of hands, and these cups are floating in midair. This pair of hands, and because they're like illumined and enlightened, it's given me from the previous life energy. There's something that occurs within the body as if by magic because of the soul that inhabits the body, and more specifically, because the soul that inhabits the body transcended the previous whatever that it was in. And maybe that's something that just in general, I don't know if I've personally encountered enough or as much consideration of the body bringing out and matching characteristics of the soul, because it seems like more often than not when I hear about the soul and the body, it's like the body is a cage, the body is the limiter, the body is the bottleneck, and it chokes the soul. But it's almost like this is a body that becomes more because of the soul that is within it. It's a fluid that changes the vessel rather than it being bound by it. It's something that expands the vessel. So, like, the body is actually a balloon, and this soul, the air soul, it works. The body is a balloon, and the air soul inflates the body. It actually expands the vessel rather than it being like air that's blown into something that won't inflate to accommodate it. But bodies glow, right? People are like, oh, you look like you're glowing, and maybe it's like someone's aura or whatever. But it's like it's because the soul inhabiting the body is doing whatever it's doing that the body does or shows whatever it shows. And I guess in a way, maybe some of that is kind of Ayurvedic, but maybe with Ayurveda, it's more like the emotions, and like the mind rather than like the soul and the body. Like the emotions in the mind will show on the body in certain ways. Anyway, that's interesting because even in this Two of Cups, the cups are above the hands. And especially the left hand in this Two of Cups almost mirrors the right hand of the angel. How do I show that? Like this hand and this hand. See, now that it focused right before I held the cards up. Boo. Boo. Anyway, the cups are above the hands. Sanctum of Treasures. Yeah, see, this is also because it's the Sanctum of Treasures. This is giving me like Konosuba a little bit, where they're like you're reincarnating into another life, and you get to carry through like all of the gifts, talents, skills, and abilities that you gained in this life, and you get a treasure that you can come because we need you to vanquish the Demon King or whatever. Maybe less so vanquishing the Demon King and more so like there are things that we carry, things that are carried into this next life from the previous life. That's why the shield of the guardian of the Sanctum of Treasures is the will of life. But because of destiny turning down here, this is a soul that was destined to overcome. It was a soul that was destined to transcend its current reality. So there's a whole bunch, like we get nothing of the body or the mind of this transcendent soul. We just get, and like the soul didn't even like, the soul had already departed Oh, the defector. The soul had already departed the body of that previous life in the other universe. Wow, this is like, if nothing else, it's kind of cohesive, you know. Interpret the metaphor as you will. Um, but yeah, they came out. I said anything that comes out will be like disregarded as if it's not a part of whatever. And then I got three cards. The first two, and then my significator. Right after I was like, oh my gosh, what happens if a significator comes out? And then it came out. Oh my gosh, what happens if I like win the lottery or whatever? Sorry. Anyway, I mean, I guess to win the lottery, you have to play the lottery. So, oh my gosh, what happens if abundance just finds me? There we go. There we go. Or I have a chance meeting with abundance and my fortune turns, even though my fortune is decent, but it's fine. It's whatever. Aside, this is a soul that had already departed from its previous whatever. It had already defected. And now the kindred seems to be the gifts, skills, and abilities that left with that person. And then again, within the soul of their current life, they carry all of that. I don't know if this is somebody with a mission, because in Konosuba there is a mission. Or maybe this is just like heaven, you know? You did what you were supposed to do, or you did what was yours to do. Congratulations. Here's a life that you get to just enjoy. Just enjoy it. You ain't got to do nothing, but just enjoy it, you know? And then we have the body, the mind of the shining waters. The mind, oh yeah, because here's cardinal water. Cardinal water came from the life before. And then we see the fountain like in the background. I almost wonder if like this is the soul, this particular soul journey that I'm reading, apparently. If this soul has already transcended once before. But then it would have transcended twice before. This would be the soul's last incarnation in that case. And I say that because there's something about, especially the moon, well, maybe both. At one point, the moon was mysterious. At one point, the moon, water, was this transcendent element. But then it became something kindred to the soul as it moved on. And it's because the fountain is in the background, even though this isn't the significator I'm looking for the universe where water is the body or where water is the soul. Like the fountain is already in the background. And then I'm like, well, do I see that shield symbolism somewhere in here? Kind of not really, but it's almost giving me like this moon, but it's the moon detangled and demystified. Because it's like it's your Celtic knots, your triquetra, your all of that stuff. Anyway, let's just continue. I'm interested to see what the dolly is going to look like now. Shining Waters. I'm glad they gave it to me in order because now I don't have to be like, what am I going to do? Is it over? Do I just shuffle it and go back through it? Do I just go back through it? Should I hold it all in time? The Dark Horse. Okay. So the Dark Horse, the Seven of Wands has been coming out more recently, which for me is minor strength. Seven of Wands, the Dark Horse. And then we have our Shining Waters, which is the mind of water, a watery mind. And then the Gardener, Seven of Pentacles. 7-7. The mind is master number 77. And then after that, it's the demon, which is the devil. But before the dark horse is strength. North node, south node. North node there. It won't focus, but the north node is right there, and then the south node, of course, is right there. Oh, it's focusing now. North node, south node. There you go. The force is behind the angel of glory, and then the demon is before the giver and the herald of earth, where earth is the transcendent element. And this is all earth. Earth was the transcendent element in this soul's previous life, which is why it's the soul in this life. So it's almost like it's closing this one up in a way, or it's end capping it in a way. And that would be fixed fire from that previous life where water was cardinal. So I guess I will take it. I didn't take the other cards. Well, yeah, I didn't take that Queen of Cups, but it's fine. So in the life where, see, this would be like something that is fought over like lifetimes. This is like a battle of good and evil that spans multiple lifetimes and dimensions and whatever. Angel of art and grace with this tamed lion. The tamed lion of the force from that incarnation where water was cardinal. The one that was, again, maybe that's why I fixated on it so much, like the fountain being in the past, the fountain being behind the queen. And then this is something that would have carried over from the previous incarnation where, and it's south node too, from the previous incarnation where earth was the transcendent element. And then death is behind that. So yeah, before they died and was reborn. How do I lay it out like this? I guess. So there's something, I don't know, it's almost reading like, although this soul accomplished whatever was for it to accomplish, to be born. Is it? Yeah, sure. To be born into, or again, to chariot right into this next world. There's something from its previous incarnation that is to be resolved in this one. Because the North Node, so we started here, right? Oops, I touched it. Now it's blushing. We started here and immediately went up here because the Queen of Swords came out like, I'm not even in that incarnation anymore. I've already escaped that will. I've already attained nirvana and I'm here. Where, I guess ultimate nirvana would be when you get off the staircase, but it completed its dharma in this life and then now it's in this one. So up here, I was fixated on that cardinal water, right? And then the force, the North Node, is right next to this fixed fire. So again, that's the second marker for this life. So that would have been the previous incarnation. But now the North Node here is the South Node up here. So that's why it's like there's something from its previous life that maybe went unaddressed because the Herald of Earth is here. Like that's transcendent Earth is this life from the previous one, but with ties, it's like there was something that was accomplished here that was overlooked here that is going to be resolved up here. Maybe. It's something in this North Node, South Node. And then we have the lovers. Hold up. Maybe I'm trying to oversimplify, or maybe I'm missing the mark. Um, because the thing about the last one was the lovers and the chariot. It was those seemingly opposite forces working together. But here, those seemingly opposite forces are opposing. They're chained together and they've been convinced by devil energy that they need to fight one another. Or maybe this is just like characteristic of the world that this soul has been birthed into. And it's making me think of, hold up, wait. Earth is the body, or our standard, according to the standard, Earth is the body. Um, because it's making me think of these hands, right? These hands in the body that are a gift of the soul from the previous life. And this elemental earth, this was the transcendent element where we started, but this soul had immediately transcended into the next. And so again, this is the next that that soul had prepared for. I told you I get a little when we introduce like time. I'm just like, wait. But it's because it's something about like both hands being open here. 'Cause again, it's something about the hands that were in the body. This is from the body, but this is after that demon. Oh, and the Dark Horse, duh, because I didn't actually read these. So yeah, and this did come out when I was after I was like, is there like some kind of mission or something? The Dark Horse that is in the mind. Like because this is a soul that's already overcome. That's why the force in the North Node is here. In the incarnation before its previous incarnation. Because I don't know which one is current. This is a soul that had already achieved whatever was for it to achieve. We see the sun here, we see the shining thing in our significator, and then up there we see again the sun is behind whoever that is. Like this is the past version of this person, and this world and this reality, they are the Dark Horse. They are kind of like rogue. It's like they're birthed with the solution to whatever ails this world that they're in now. And with the gardener, it's like it's almost like it's their job to help the world heal or to help the people grow in a way to overcome whatever this demon self node is. Maybe job is a little extreme, like they have the ability to. And because the giver is here, it's like this is them like. So it's interesting because I feel like a lot of times we would look at the divine as a liberator. But sometimes the divine sends those who have been freed and liberated to help free and liberate others. right? And maybe it's because there are certain things that need to be done with like human hands or whatever. Maybe there are deeper reasons. Maybe there's like a deeper connection to be formed, or there's something about like sending another person to do something that can impact us in a way that's different than if like things were to just work out miraculously and spontaneously behind the scenes and we don't even know. It's another tool in the toolkit of the divine, and it serves a different purpose, or it helps us in a different way, in a way that the divine knows, of course. So, Eve, if you are still there, since you are my helper today in like a lot of days, I guess maybe I could do both. I could do both because we started where earth was the transcendent element, but we immediately moved into a world where fire is the transcendent element. So would I pull before and after the page of earth because that's where we started, or the page of air because that's where we actually are? It's like we're here, but we were given a context of the previous. But the page of the Herald of the Earth was like in this little earth trio down here. I think I might actually I think I might pull both. And it's almost feeling like, well, that was the thing with the magician. Maybe that's why we opened up with the magician. It's like problems of this world. And maybe that's a weird, interesting little element. Like problems of this world must be resolved within this world, but sometimes the solution can't be found within it. So it's like you need an outside solution, but you need it to be from an inside perspective or from a man on the inside type of thing. Which could be why, again, there are certain things that are for humans to do. Maybe that's the reason why the divine has sent someone who has already conquered or who is from a mindset where the solution is a part of, like, the solution is so ingrained within them, it's like a part of the body. It's like reflective or reflexive. It's reflexive. So, in that vein, again, I don't know if like our page of earth will show where this new world, the world that this soul has been born into, is, and then the page of fire will show like where it can be. Almost like the problems are the earth and it's not the solutions to the problem, but it's like what that world is when the problem is resolved. Right. I kind of think I want to do that, but now I'm like, oh, I don't even want to pick. I don't even want to pick this deck up. It's been so cohesive. Like, why not? Right? If this is cohesion, like my head is still hurting. Maybe this would be like, I feel like this would be an interesting way to like read past lives or like future lives. You know what I mean? A little bit. Maybe this is my new past life spread. Or it's not even a spread, it's more like a graphic. Anyway, it's fine. Okay. So from the top or from the bottom? From the bottom, why not? Page of Cups is at the bottom of the deck with the High Priest, El Sumo Sacerdote. And then Las Enamorados, the lovers, the Page of Cups, the High Priest, and the lovers are our bottom three. With the High Priestess, hold up, hold up. So we're back in our Page of Cups world, which is the first one, the only one that we haven't really, 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 truly touched on. Oh my gosh, now my head just started hurting more. I feel like I'm starting to feel a little nauseous because this is starting to melt my brain. Because so we're here, right? Where fire is transcendent, but fire being transcendent leads to the world where water is transcendent, and transcendent water is our page of cups. So transcendent water almost becomes just like transcendent air. It's the marker for this trio. For the trio where water is transcendent, water being transcendent is a function of this universe. And again, this is a very universe that we're one of the ones that we're looking for. But that would be like treating this like the compriser rather than transcendence. So again, that's where my brain is like. But I say that because there's a marriage between the high priest and the high priestess. The high priest, the lovers, the high priestess. There's a lot of majors down here. And then we have the hanged man under that. It's almost like this hanged man would be the child born of the union between the high priest and the high priestess. This is why sometimes I should just go for the cards. And then the tower is after that hanged man. And then justice is after the tower. And then the king of wands. Okay. So from these three, the hanged man rises. From the union of the high priest and the high priestess, we get the hanged man at the tower. And we can even see, like, because they're falling out of the tower, we see freed, hanged people falling from the tower. Right? Or the hanged one set free. And that's the free fall by the tower. And then there's justice. Justice giving me like a true justice energy, because sometimes hanged one gives a like one that's falsely convicted, but when hierophantic word is law. But then after that is our king of wands. And this is again down here, it's the tie to the archangel of glory and strength, being that king of wands energy. So it's almost like, because we don't have, I confuse myself. I should have stuck to what the cards mean. And maybe it added another extra layer because this became about like a particular soul's journey rather than just like, this is, let's see what the construction of this universe would be like or whatever. Because that was a soul that had immediately transcended our view, our frame point. Because now it's like with all of this, it's reading like in the first world, in the world where water is transcendent, page of cups. So down here, there was a union between the emperor, no, not the emperor. There was a union between the high priest and the high priestess, like divine masculine, divine, like divine masculine, divine feminine energy. And it birthed in this world. Oops, now it's blushing all over. It birthed in this world the hanged one. Now it's like it's no surprise that this soul of interest is like so good at learning its lessons or so strong or whatever. Because it's like it was born of the high priest and the high priestess. So you know what I mean? It's like not handed to them on a silver platter, but they're well informed and well connected. And then again with justice, Justice also speaks to that past life, with the hidden sword being transcendent air energy. Transcendent air is the world where the King of Wands is our significator, where it's fixed fire. It's in that same world. It's in this one with the King of Wands. So anyway, let's go look at it. Ooh, okay, I'll put it on the table because that's our last, court card. So now we are looking for the Page of Coins. There's the Knight of Coins, Knight of Swords, don't care. Page of Coins, Knight of Cups, 3 knights, Queen of Coins, nope. The Sun, the Star, the Devil, Wheel of Fortune, Queen of Swords, King of Coins, Page of Coins. So the Page of Coins is in between Temperance, because of course it is, why not? And this King of Coins. King of Coins is fixed earth. Is that our first world? Yeah, that's our first world. Fire, earth, air. It's this first one, where the high priest and high priestess came into union. And it's temperance. Cool. Because this is where we started. And I'm just going to keep going and pull the Page of Fire. Page of Swords. Here's a Page of Wands. Page of Wands is the 5 of Cups and the 3, 7. The 5 and the 7 of Cups. And then the Chariot is behind that 7 of Cups, 7, 7. 7 of water, 7 associated with water because of Cancer. El Carro. I'm running out of room on the table. So we have the Ace of Swords and the Chariot. The Ace of Swords before, the Chariot after, the after. The Ace of Swords and the Chariot, which again is taking me back to the beginning of this somehow. Because of the Wheel of Life. Because when we first saw Justice, and again, Justice has made another appearance. Justice came out presenting the scales, hiding the sword. But it was our Wheel of Life that had the sword upright at the top and the scales in reverse at the bottom. There's the scales. This was the body. No, this was the soul. The soul. That was our transcendent soul that incarnated into this world. And we end with the Ace of Swords and the Chariot, because it was the Chariot down here that was like these two seemingly opposing forces are moving forward and they blip into this next world. Hold up. Wait, I think I read this wrong. Well, I didn't read it wrong. Or I did. No, I didn't read it wrong. Because the Herald of the Flame is the universe where fire is transcendent. And where fire is transcendent, the soul is made of earth. So we already had our Page of Wands, and I didn't even, it's been long enough and my head is hurting so much. I forgot that transcendent fire has like it already made an appearance at the very beginning. But transcendent fire, yeah, yeah. And so why did I pull transcendent fire again? Because that's what led us here. So yeah, Eve was right. I should have just went for Earth because, I mean, I guess it's different because it's a different deck. This is almost so it's like we read this as the inevitable victory of the transcendent soul. This transcendent soul has accomplished something in its past incarnation that its current situation is like lacking. So it already knows, but this is very much giving like temptation. This is the Patrick. That was just like, can't like there just be heaven? Like, why does it have to be another mission? Maybe we can just enjoy the world. Hey Holly, how you doing? Like the Seven of Cups is very, very much so giving temptation. And then this Five of Cups, it's almost this like, well, like I've already like done that whole ascension. I've already lived a life where I like fulfilled my dharma. And that got me here. Like, do I want to live another life of worrying about am I fulfilling my dharma and doing all the things that I know I need to do? Or can I just enjoy my life? And then the devil comes out with that temptation. This world is tempting. This world is very tempting. It's almost like when the angels fell because they were tempted by the pleasures of man. They felt a temptation. And it's like, again, it's characteristic of this world that exists beyond the one that they were in. And then maybe it's not even temptation so much as it is like satisfying curiosity. Like, oh, I'm curious as to how this world works, right? It's a land that's so different from the one that I'm used to. It's like, when you are in Indiana and then you go to California where marijuana is legal and you don't have that. Oh, but it's illegal to be the one reason, not the only reason, but a huge reason as to why you can't. So then maybe you think, when in Rome, do as the Romans, and you spend 2.5 days laying on a futon. If it sounds like I'm pulling from personal experience, it's because I am. We've also seen three of the sevens: Seven of Wands, Seven of Pentacles, and now the Seven of Cups. The only seven that's not here is the Seven of Swords. Um, what? Huberman's interview with David Goggins. And then there's like this gateway in this. We also see this mermaid becoming a man. Or it's like if a mermaid's tail was like actually they're just like their legs put together, but they can separate them because you see like the merman or the mer person who's like two halves of the tail with like legs. And the mermaid is on the Four of Cups, I think, in the Witch's Tarot, but we've seen a mermaid here in the Defector in the Eight of Cups. Right there. Oh, and the mermaid is by the Five of Cups. And then here's Five Cups and a mermaid. What? Or a mer person. So is this again like more temptation? Is the work never over? How many lifetimes will we be filling Dharma before we get to, reach true nirvana and just bliss out and not have to worry about nothing? Or then yeah, over here, around before and after the page of coins is temperance in this king of coins. Now, the king of coins being less like, oh, fixed earth, that's the world where water is transcendent. And the king of coins being like more like a mastery in the suit of coins. There's a mastery here that the person is going to be able to in their body, because pinnacles are standardized to the body. The mastery in the body that's read as destiny turning in the wheel of life. The mastery from the body, the same, or that's the soul, sorry. It was here. And this temperance angel, there was a mastery of the soul that manifested in the body somehow. Anyway, it's like there's something for this person to do with temperance. Like this is the cup of their current / previous incarnation. This is the one where the world is in need. And they are capable, but there's also temptation. Right? This is like, oh, when I get over there, I'm going to do everything that I need to do. And then you get there and it's like, ooh, or I could not. There's so much more than work to do, type energy. I feel like this ended in a very like human way. Yeah, we know better, but temptations are tempting. Our vices are vices. And maybe we don't want to do the thing that we know we're supposed to do. Maybe we just want to have a little fun and then do whatever. Vacation first, work later on your work trip. I'm not sure. Kirsty, if you're listening, Holly is asking for the. Because of, okay. So this is given a little like past life trauma because of the hanged one with the tower. Right. It was like maybe, because again, the hanged one is born of the union between the high priest and the high priestess. And it may not necessarily be welcome, right? The powers that be seemingly don't always care about what is right and what is wrong, morally or ethically. Seemingly, the powers that be care more about like what proliferates that power or expands it, and what would be viewed as like giving that power away or losing power, losing control. And right to a system of power is maintaining and expanding, and wrong to a system of power is losing power or control. Right. It's like, would you purposefully and intentionally hurt your bottom dollar, or would you make more money? Now, a lot of people would say, I'd do the thing that makes me more money. Why would I purposefully and intentionally lose out on money? Why would I donate to a charity if I don't get a write-off? Hello? Because I care? No, thank you. It's like, yeah, I care, but, it costs me money. And there's a difference between like, I don't have the money, and so I can't give, and I have an overabundance of money. I have more than I could ever have, want, or need for. But if I give and I don't get a write-off, I'd lose it. Right. I think the magician also played into this somehow. Maybe it's because the magician, again, there are three independent variables in this equation. There are three independent variables in this 4-variable equation, meaning that one of the variables is a function of the other three. Either water is a function of fire, air, and earth, or earth is a function of fire, water, and air, So, in order for the magician to independently control all four, it has to dip somewhere where the rules are different. But maybe going back to the beginning of this video, people are still people. Humans are still humans. We have uh, we have agency, free will. That's the word. We have free will. We don't have to choose to do the thing that we said we would do. People lie. And sometimes people lie intentionally, sometimes people lie unintentionally. I was gonna do that, but then like I was so tired, I didn't have time. And like, was them doing it a lie? Yes, but they had a good reason. They didn't have time, or like, yeah, I was gonna buy you this from the grocery store, but they were out. Like they're out. What is that person supposed to do? You know? But yeah, with this page of coins, it's temperance and this king of pentacles. There's some kind of intervention that this world is in need of. The world of that's a function of Earth, which is the world that air soul was born into. That air soul having won or accomplished something within its previous, maybe a few of its previous incarnations. And maybe the high priest and the high priestess, like the marriage of them is their agreement that like this soul is the one, this soul is one of the many who can bring about change in this world. Again, going back to Konosuba, right? Like we're picking people, specifically young people in the anime. Like we're picking young people who died before their time in your world to be birthed into this other one, and we are giving you sacred or cursed treasures to help you defeat the Demon King. Like this world has been at peace forever, and the Demon King has come back. Like you are placed here with a mission, and again, that's not new. It's something that very much so floats, especially the spiritual collective. But like again, do we actually do the thing with temperance and the king of pentacles, king of coins, or do we not? With the five of cups and the seven of cups, because it's hard, it's challenging, there's grief, there's loss, there's a whole bunch of stuff that nobody told me would be a part of the process. So I am going to seek other things. Cool. Not necessarily where I expected this to go, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised because of the preface that I gave at the beginning of the video. How sometimes it's not religion or spirituality that fails humanity, but it's humanity that fails the teachings, right? Like if religion and spirituality teaches you to love, but you choose to hate, it's not the teaching that failed the person. It's the person that chose, use their free will to do something outside of the teaching. Cool. I don't know what this was. I feel like again, I feel like I kind of I microed this obviously at some points more so than others. If I were to just read this in a macro sense, it's given me karma, dharma, and nirvana type energy. Something that was accomplished in one lifetime. You move up into the next lifetime. Maybe what's could be surprising is that the next lifetime requires something that was gained from the previous lives. Not surprisingly, previous incarnations hold some type of benefit within the current incarnation and within to future incarnations. Again, to more micro it, the things that you've learned in the past are going to help you navigate choice and decision in the present that will move you into bigger and brighter futures. You pull upon the wisdom that you gained. It's not, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like, oh my gosh, it makes sense. And then this, again, like there are things that are needed from us in order to really get things to grow or flourish or benefit or to make things work. But we are not forced to do anything. So we can choose to not. This is Ariel. I want to be where the people are, giving up her sea legs to live among the humans. Oof! And when she find out what humanity is really like, she might wish she was back in the sea, under the sea. She said, "They have what up there?" It's like, oh no, oh no. It's like, girl, you don't even know Eric like that. Anyway, excuse me. Obviously, there are layers to this that go much deeper. Um, but yeah, so I don't know if I'm like low key disappointed. You know, I mean, like I guess I'm glad that it like kind of makes sense, but I don't know what I was expecting. Like especially because the magician came out and it was like, oh my gosh, what the magician? Two different universes. The universe where water is transcendent and the universe where fire is transcendent, and it's balancing the both of those. But it came out in a way of like there is something, but that was the magician. The magician needs the tool from a different universe, from a different construction, where that isn't a function of the three that it has. So I guess I shouldn't have been surprised that it read like there are things that you have, things that you've gained that the world is in need of. You are the balance between this world and the next, or the previous world and this one as we go to the next. You are the one with the tools that are missing. You are the one with the outside perspective. You're the one, it's like you're the new hire with the fresh ideas, right? So then it's like, okay, well, here's an idea. So remember how like annoying Phoebe used to be? Was that her name? At my old school, maybe that wasn't Phoebe. Maybe that was another girl. The one in the magic school bus that was always like, well, at my old school, at my old school, at my old school, at your old school, you didn't have a magic school bus that let you go inside of one of your classmates' bodies or into outer space. We get it. But in this case, it's like kind of needed, you know? It's where a fresh perspective, an outside perspective is needed, and you're the one that has it. Will you speak up or will you fall silent and blend into the masses? It ain't necessarily easy because the Five of Cups was there. And again, it's the Seven of Wands. It's not necessarily easy, but you can do it. I mean, I guess with the Seven of Wands, it kind of depends. Like you have the advantage in the situation with the Seven of Wands, but it ain't necessarily going to be just handed to you either. Cool. That Queen of Swords through. Oh, the keeper at the cuts with that death card. This is the awakened, enlightened fool. This is the one that's like, I'm going to pull from this incarnation universe and I'm going to pull from this incarnation universe and I am going to affect this with no hands. Watch me do it with no hands. Call it magic. That's like that temperance energy. It wasn't actually hands that was pouring from one cup into the other. It was all of this seemingly unconnected, uncorrelated, whatever. Cool, love it. I'm gonna get final cards, and then it's already been like 2 hours. Where's my number one fan? Hello? We got stuff we need to do today. I'm surprised she ain't texted me. Unless she popped on here to see if I was live. I'm getting hungry. I got some like vegetables and stuff that I need to cook, but I don't feel like it. Not today. I don't feel like it. Not today. I don't want to understand how the engine works, Holly. I want mystery. I want intrigue. I want my brains. I want my mind to be so blown. And not to ultimately at the end go, oh, this makes sense. Boo. And I saw the Archangel of Mystery at the cut too. Like she didn't disrupt the deck enough to be discarded. So like she stayed. Like she didn't flip all the way over. She didn't come out. She just made a little bit of noise. Ooh. Oh, snap. The Giver and the title card with this fixed fire. Again, I've been seeing like I feel like the King of Wands energy has come up too much. Something about that particular iteration, incarnation, or universe has come up too much where water is cardinal. And that's so if we are a tria prima of fire, earth, and air, that's the next iteration for us. And the tria prima of water, fire, and earth, where air is transcendent. That's the world in which that King of Wands sits at or sits as a body of fire. A body of fire that's the Knight of Wands, isn't it? It's like if I don't fulfill my carnal desires, I will literally perish on the spot. Okay. Final card from the Revelations SKT. I'm thinking of every other deck, every other edition, but what it is. Revelations SKT. Bottom of the deck is the Chancellor. Bottom of the deck is a Justice card that presents both the scale and the sword. Ooh. Ooh. The Forest, the Ebony Shield, and the Bereaved. We've seen two of these. The Forest, the Ebony Shield, and the Bereaved. Because the Bereaved is here, because Resurrection is here. We had our transcendent soul that moved on to its next life, but this is a soul that is brought back into the same life because of the resurrection of Goddess Isis. I don't know if this is necessarily brought back in the same life, like, oh, you didn't cross all your Dharma check marks, so you're not moving on, you're doing this one again. And you didn't do so bad that like you're gonna like go back, even though this was an energy that like was from previous. Also, this one came out with the King of Wands. So again, that specific whatever. But this would be that one, like the previous and the next, because this was the next. Cardinal Earth. A Soul of Earth was the next. No, yeah. A Soul of Earth was the next because Earth was transcendent. And then this force was associated with the King of Wands, which was the fixed fire, the body of fire from the previous. And maybe that's why justice is presenting both and judgment. No, the world is behind justice with the sacred word and the apocalypse after that. So I don't know, like one way to read this would be, especially if we're talking about like crossing over into the new year. And like previous incarnations, previous iterations being, again, all of the wisdom that we've gained up until this point. Like this would be something where something comes back up to be closed out properly, type energy. Right. As we're moving forward into the next, there is something that carries through from the previous. And it's to address something from the past with the wisdom that we gained from it, from the empowered, more healed perspective of the present. And so this would be in the demiurge, the Four of Wands is behind this apocalypse. Um, this would be important to work towards the end and the goal that you wish now, rather than like the hurt and the pain of the past. If there's a lot of hurt and pain in the past, right? Because guilt came up. Like, let's say that someone comes back and you tell them about themselves, you cuss them out, and you're like, how could you do this and do that, and blah, 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 blah. And then in the moment, you feel empowered, you feel justified, you feel like you got yours. But then after, you feel guilty. And you're like, well, why would I feel guilty when that person did this to me first? Maybe you feel guilty because you ultimately, like, you wanted to bring it to a different kind of conclusion. Maybe you reached a point of understanding. You understand that they were hurt, or that there were certain things that they were lacking and missing, and that you were hurt and there were things that you were lacking and missing, and the timing was terrible because you bled and vomited and projected all over one another. And this specific particular instance, you both had some kind of liability. And rather than communicate that when the person came back, you did a whole bunch of finger pointing and didn't even communicate, again, the wisdom that you gained from it. So that guilt is that part of you that wanted to handle it a different way. That guilt would be a part of you that wanted to handle it in a different way. And that's a truth that shouldn't be discarded or ignored just because guilt is a negative, low vibrational emotion and I don't want to feel that way, so I'm going to ignore it. Okay, well, you just potentially created a whole new cycle for you to learn from because you didn't want to acknowledge that as the cue to, like, you know what, resolve it in the moment and let it be what it is, right? Let you have your regret, that you have your guilt, and then maybe you tell yourself, if I get another opportunity, I'll say what it is that I really wanted to say. I was hurt and I didn't, like, these were feelings and words that hurt me never got to express to them. And so when I got the opportunity, that's what I did. I did it. All the hurt and the pain came out, and none of the wisdom and compassion and kindness that I gained. If appropriate, if capital I, capital F, underscore, 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 in red, bold, if appropriate. But that's what, like, that guilt would be. I wanted to handle that in a different way and I didn't. And to ignore that would just be to further repress and create this whole mess when you just did so much work to clean out the roots. It's like, oh my gosh, are you I was gonna say, are you Patrick? Like, you do all this cleaning and then you laze and procrastinate and laze and procrastinate, and then it becomes a mess again. You got to clean it again. And not anymore. This time we're staying on top of it. So yeah, that's what that could be at the bottom. And it's not like with this resurrection, it's not that you revive a situation from the past, right? So this isn't to say if you would have shown that compassion and the wisdom, then like you two would get together, like if this was a person, a relationship, like you two would get together and live happily ever after. And like it's not to say that this bereaved, it's literally just reading to me like being brought back to a situation that you moved on from. Again, this was the transcendent soul. This was a victory achieved in a previous incarnation. This is everything being brought back to the present moment because this is the soul that's called back, or the soul that couldn't move on. But it's a soul that's called back to the present. And again, justice is presenting both the sword and the scales. Justice presenting the scales and hiding the sword was next life energy with the justice, right? And then justice presenting the sword but hiding the scales. It was on the wheel of life, so it's like past life energy in this life. This is both. And again, like you can do whatever you want to. Mercury, I'm pretty sure, I think. I'll say I'm pretty sure because I'm more sure than I'm not. I haven't seen all of the Mercury is direct readings and thumbnails and titles. So I'm assuming it's still retrograde. Folks can still come back, but it's a new year, new you, right? It's folks, Mercury's still retrograde, but it's new year, new you. So bring all of the wisdom that you've learned and gained from 2023 and previous years to the now if something does come back. It could surprise you in a way. Maybe you've grown and matured and something else has grown and matured as well, right? Or maybe not. But either way, it's like you get to choose how you conduct yourself, more or less. Cool. Cool. All right, Dolly Tarot. The Dolly Tarot hasn't been as scary as I thought it might be today because there are some super abstract cards that I did not get. Mostly court cards and some majors. So thank you. But now we're going to get our final card. Ooh. Now we're going to get our final card. Our final card. How do you like shuffle like this? Because they're so long. We'll take like 3 at the most. I have not, Holly. I'll probably keep it close to the chest this year. Well, I say that, but I just haven't debuted it yet. That was a clue, though. That was actually a really, really unintentional clue as to what my word is. Maybe I'm starting already. Oof. Okay, this ain't giving me nothing. All right. I can they're like just wide enough. Oof, all that hand washing from going to the bathroom, dry my hands out. It's funny. All right. Way too many cards. But I see a 6 of Pentacles. We saw the 6 of Pentacles. That was the giver in between the Demon South Node and the Herald of Earth. That's way too many cards. I see the Lovers. The 3 of Swords is still in my hand. Oof. No, 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 no. I'm just trying to make sure I put these up right. No, no, no. We ain't doing it. I pulled all the cards that I'm gonna pull for that. If anybody is looking or wanting something more, there are plenty of readers on this platform who will read that situation for you. Not getting into the lovers thing. No, no, no. It was like lovers and ace of wands. Like they don't miss. They miss like your physical activities and your extracurriculars more so maybe than they're interested in like being different. You know what I mean? And we're not doing that. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. Not doing it. Doing it. Doing it. No. Hey Steph, how you doing? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Holly. Did I say Happy New Year? I think I forgot. I was deep in it. I was like, what is this? I need to get on Monopoly. Maybe I'm over Monopoly. You know what I mean? They ain't giving me my stickers. Death. La Muerte. Bottom of the deck is El Diablo. El Diablo and La Muerte. In between these two is the angel, Temperance. What is this? Our Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is transcendent fire. So that was the last one, the last step. So that was a soul of earth, mind of air, and a no. Let me see. It's green. It has to be blue. Green, yellow, blue. Yeah, the soul of earth, the body of air, the mind of water. Those transcendent fire. Which was it was Page of Cups, Page of Water. I did not get a PO box yet. I've only had to use it like once, I think, or maybe a few times. And I used my mom's, but then she never got another one, and I never got one because I'm not necessarily like committed to the area that I'm in, and so I was like, if I move, I mean, I guess I could still get one temporarily and then just get a new one if I move, but no. To answer your question, not yet. So we have La Muerte and El Diablo. This is what kind of caught me because this is looking like full energy. Like, so it's almost like in trying to stop this change, the devil energy is like going off the cliff. It's like this is a dying devil. And I guess this could be like if there are major um, I mean, it's almost like the 40, 50, 60, 40. This is giving me tower energy. I know it's probably supposed to be a bird, but that's feeling like, the hangman that fell out of the tower. It feels like they're about to land here in the world where the devil is dead. Question mark. And the rose is there. But this devil is, it's, oh gosh. Oh, snap. I have to get in contact with you. We'll have to figure out some kind of solution. And then judgment. Judgment is behind this page of wands. The devil is being judged. So, if this, because judgment, especially, I guess I'll just, it's reading like integrity is going to be like key, or integrity is going to be important. We have Mars and Saturn. Death, excuse me, here, death is Saturn and Mars is the devil. The devil is Mars, death is Saturn. I believe Mars just transited into Capricorn. Saturn is early Pisces still. So we would have a sextile between Mars and Saturn. Mars and Capricorn sextile Pisces, Saturn. Mars and Capricorn sextile Saturn and Pisces. I think Saturn and Pisces could be like the death of a dream, but Saturn and Pisces could also be the death of a certain like delusion, right? Like maybe there was something that we saw as an insurmountable obstacle to us not being able to attain or achieve something. Um, and Saturn and Pisces, because dreams and delusions are hand in hand. That one's coming down. This could be within the self. Maybe there were ways that we were resisting change. Because this El Diablo feels more like a person than like devil energy. Like the silhouette is too person like. It's not giving me major arcana and devil energy. And so maybe those were ways that we were resistant to a certain change. But as we've been actively resisting that change, we go over the cliff. And then there's a judgment energy. With the Page of Wands, it's like, do we attempt to revive, going back to the Three of Swords? Do we attempt to bring something back to life within our lives and are resisting a certain change? Or do we let it go and do we move forward? Like we're the ones that make that judgment call. And again, that's the reason why, especially here lately, tragedy and misfortune, it gives us opportunities, but it doesn't, things don't inherently, like, it's not misfortune that makes us good people. If that were the case, everybody would be amazing. You know what I mean? Because we all suffer misfortune. It's not tragedy or hardship that makes good people, because there would be a lot more good people in the world. We make the choice and the decision to do differently when we go through those experiences. That's, again, that's why it's an opportunity. So it's almost like, again, like there's an opportunity to put something to bed permanently in favor for something that we actually, I don't know, I don't want to say, because it's the Page of Wands. And because it's the Page of Wands, it's not necessarily like right or wrong inherently. Like it can go either way. It's non-modal. It's non-modal fire. It's not cardinal. It's not fixed. It's not mutable. It's just fire. Maybe there's a modality outside of the three that we know. And I was kind of sort of hoping that the reading the next would give us like that hidden modality, but then it became this whole oof. Oh, a comfy maxi dress. Wow. I watched an episode of Ugly Betty like yesterday. And Justin repurposed one of Hilda's dresses for Betty because she didn't have anything to wear to Wilhelmina's award ceremony party thing for donating to the Tibetan children. And she was like, "What? Since when do I donate to the Tibetan children?" And Mark was like, "Oh, for the past 5 years." Anyway. I think there is also something here that speaks to purification. And it's this. I'm like, I don't get this. I feel like this was someone who was completely in double energy, like a shadow of their former selves. And you can see both their hands and their legs are starting to like lose that double energy. Now we have these shadowy hands up here. So maybe another way to read this would be in pursuing change. It's like we've liberated and healed enough of ourselves that instead of death, like this is rebirth. Again, it's like the hangman is falling from the tower into this space. And maybe this is like a pool of purifying waters that will remove external devil corruption. And then maybe this is like the like when the fool falls off the cliff and into that sacred pool. And then like all of this darkness that comes off is like this is the skull that was like possessing this person or whatever. And then we get the opportunity. Do we put it to bed or do we put it right back on? I don't know. 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 No, 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 no. My mom has a sewing machine, or had a sewing machine. I learned how to sew in elementary school. We had art class at my elementary school, and we did sewing for at least a few weeks. And then I never did it. I learned how to crochet in 5th grade, but that was more like at recess. You know, there were some of us that would go outside and play, and then there was me with some of the girls learning how to crochet. And Miss A was our student teacher, and when she left, she got everyone a skein of yarn and a crochet hook. I think I still have mine. She gave me a purple crochet hook, and that's the one that I still use because crochet hooks last forever. Well, at least some of them do. It's made of metal, so interesting. Okay, Dolly. Dolly Terrell said, "I know how to tone it down. I know how to be readable. Okay, I know how to communicate a message when I want to communicate a message." I was scared. I was scared. Scared. I don't know, but I'm still kind of like unsatisfied. Like this macro five. You know what? We're gonna pull. Oh, we're not gonna do that. We are not gonna smack. Hold up. Okay. Woo! I had to make sure. I got. My shirt is riding up a little bit. I was like, I am not about to have another butt crack situation. I will end this video and delete it right now. There's so many decks in here. Like the Star Dragons that I just have not used in a minute. The Good Tarot, I forgot I got the Good Tarot from Sir Nerdclown. Sir Professor Nerdcloud Odinson Skywalker of the North. Where is? Oh, this is the deck I'm looking for. I need a little woo. I want a little woo. A little woo woo. I'm going to use the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations because, Archangel Commanders and the like. The shields of the angels themselves. Ooh. Like, you mean back to Florida? Mm-hmm. Well, safe travels. Mm-hmm. Okay, just one. Just one. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Zachriel, Angel of Memory. Maybe this is appropriate. Maybe this is the most appropriate anticlimactic angel I could have gotten. As we speak of past incarnations and lives and current and future incarnations and lives. And our accomplishments and challenges from one to the other. What? Well, I hope it goes all right. I'm sure it'll go all right for you. Well, I'm sure you'll make it where you're going, at the very least. I need to stop eating. I'm gonna eat an apple, but I'm gonna wait until I'm done. Bottom of the deck is Sahakiel, Angel of the Sky, not Angel of Sky. Can y'all hear all those noises? That's so disgusting. Maybe not. Zachriel, Angel of Memory. Eternally lost. Zachriel carelessly winds and unwinds the threads of thought. Memory has no meaning. Memory has no worries or concerns. You are safe to wrap yourself in the bands of time gone by as well. It is warm and safe within the fog of Zachriel. All you knew greets you, welcomes you, longs for you. The power of remembrance is balanced by the power of forgetfulness. Pouring memory into the cup of forgetfulness makes room for new memory. Zachriel is the angel of all memory, even memory lost. If you take something with you, you must also leave something behind. Signs are a knot, a loom, and a maze. We saw the knot in the shield of the ivory shield, which was like the previous life, where water was cardinal and fire was fixed. There was like the Celtic knot and the triquetra and all that in her shield. And again, I'm not surprised to see the angel of memory as we're talking about like the previous and now. But this, in particular, you are safe to wrap yourself in the bands of time gone by as well. It is warm and safe within the fog of Zachriel. It was actually giving me the angel of the mists. There was an energy of the angel of the mists earlier, but it was the fog of Zachriel. The power of remembrance is balanced by the power of forgetfulness. I think that would be the only thing of concern. I'm not going to say danger because maybe it's not. Maybe it is sometimes better to remember things of the past and to forget things of the present. Right. Because you're safe to wrap yourself in the bands of time gone by. It's like you're safe to remember more and more and more of the previous, but then again, it's like there's the danger of, at the very least, losing that hindsight and the perspective that was gained after, right? It's like when we fondly remember all of the good things of the past, but we forget all of the not great things. And maybe the very reason why the past is no longer a part of our present. But sometimes it's beneficial, right? Maybe things are different. Maybe things have changed. Maybe the facets of the present moment were the result of an external pressure or force or situation that is no more, right? Like, hey, sorry, I was like, so whatever, I was super stressed because of these tests. But now that the test is over, I'll be more of my usual self, you know, as long as nothing's too extreme. It's like, okay, like I knew it was a stressful time. We already talked about how, like, you wouldn't be available or you may be short or whatever, right? Like, if someone's like, in the delivery room, or if pregnancy hormones or post pregnancy hormones or just, whatever, it's like, is it necessarily fair to hold that against the person forever? Maybe not. Sometimes there are reasons. Sahakiel, angel of the sky, at the bottom of the deck. Now, the gate of Sahakiel is a thing in the Angelarium year 2, but here's the actual angel himself. The shield bearer and the gatekeeper who stands outside the gateway between Angelarium and the expanse of existence. A benevolent figure whose compassion knows no bound or equal. Sahakiel blesses and protects, shielding us from storm and fire alike. The sky forms a ring around the earth many times over. Its movement forms the clouds, obscures the sun, and reminds us that Sahakiel stands guard. Signs are a shield, a ring, and a blessing hand. Now, we saw many blessing hands, but what's interesting is where we saw the knot of Zachriel, it was on a shield. There was a Celtic knot on the shield, and then the sign of a shield, and the sign of a sign of a knot, and the sign of a shield. We saw both together. So obviously, there's some overlap between these two angels, and it's not surprising because it feels like the disc of Zachriel fits into the contraption of Sahakiel in some way. Like what's behind their heads, if you can call them heads. Like, I don't know if this slots into the middle of this or if it's like the background or what, but they feel interlocked and interconnected in some way. But the clouds are The clouds are the movement of the sky, and fog is clouds that have descended. So again, it's similar. It's like Sahakiel has descended in a way that aligns its domain with Zachriel. So on one hand, like this could be a lot of forgotten things that are being remembered, or some very deep things that have been forgotten that are being remembered or that will be remembered. Hopefully, at least some of them pleasant, right? And hopefully, it's not so much as like, oh my gosh, I repressed this so hard that I forgot about it. You know? Maybe it's more like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this thing in forever. I used to love it. And then it's just like a nice, warm, nostalgic feeling. Or it can be some past life remembrance. It could be. If I want to woo it up, this is you remembering stuff from your past life. You remembering the very things from your past life that are going to help you in navigating this one towards the next one, or that are going to like get you again. Because there was something that was like, there's something of the past that's important now. Take it as it resonates, if it resonates, when it resonates, and if it don't take it. So I would like to thank Holly and Eve and David and Steph for stopping by, and Kirsty, of course, always Kirsty. And for the rest of yous, thank you also for your views, because that's what we're about on this channel. Kidding. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and way you find, I hope that I hope you a power of presence and to be connected to your heart's truest or truer desires. Because again, I think maybe that's an interesting intersection between water and fire, like because the heart is like water, but like fire, passion, desire. But I think when it comes to our heart's desires, I don't know, it's like emotion plays a very interesting role. Is it air? Is the way that we feel about and view ourselves, is that air or is that water? Because like let's say that we have an opportunity to fulfill one of our heart's truest desires, but we don't think that we are whatever enough. And so our view of ourself keeps us from actually like living it. Anyway, I might make the thumbnail like this little staircase. Why not? Anyway, yes. Happiest of New Year's. May all that you wish find you this year. May you do all that you need to do to make it so. And may you also, at the time, realize when it's not necessarily for you to do anything. Right? Sometimes the thing that is for us to do is like to wait. And maybe while you're waiting, you're doing something else. Or maybe you're catching up on rest because you work hard and you deserve it. I don't know. Anyway, I'll catch y'all later. At this rate, probably tomorrow. Maybe not. I mean, because this was like
So I called this TP1 because it was supposed to be Tria Prima 1. Maybe this was TP1. This was the TP1 of air. Was it the TP1 of air, fire, of air, water, and fire? Maybe I'll do another one where we actually look at like fire, earth, air, or water, fire, earth. We'll see. There are more unfinished playlists than videos on this channel. So that's a bit ambitious, especially since I still have 23 permutations of the archangels in the SKT. Maybe we'll, I don't know. Anyway, I'll catch y'all when I catch y'all. Thanks again. Bye.